Hi folks, how you doing? So, this is a message to the whole world. I mean, what is more important to all the world's governments? You know, that Venezuela needs help. The opposition. People are against Maduro's regime and they're killing everybody. You know, the thing is, this is not about oil. This is not about land or whatever it is. This is more about freedom. A democracy. People want to be free. Alright? I mean, this right here in the US, how things were done, our aggressors, even though my family comes from Colombia, right? But I'm talking about behalf as an American or behalf of citizens of the world. In this country, the aggressors were the British. We fought the British. I mean, this is back in 1776. This is 440 years ago, and I would say, yes, it is time. It is time to let people over there in Venezuela reconcile against the Maduro regime. All right. First of all, the thing is, I know there's a bunch of problems in this world. The Iraq War. I remember that. I don't agree with this. Okay, France reject the Iraq War. You know, I don't agree with all governments how they run. All right, what I do agree is about sending troops to Venezuela for the good cause. No matter which country. This is no matter which country it is. Could be the U.S. Anybody could be sending troops to Venezuela. So the thing is with the Maduro regime, this is like Chavez was dealing. First of all, before Chavez, it was like leading up into a war, because probably this is like both North and South Korea, you know, united, and then we'd be like going to World War III. But yes, this is a long story away. You know, Hugo Chavez is gone. We ain't gonna fight. We don't need to fight against them. We need to fight with the people who are fighting against the Maduro regime. This is kind of worse. It's not about we're fighting for atomic bombs or anything like that. We're fighting more out of not just oil. This is fighting for freedom. These people need anybody. This is especially for the U.S. and Japan. The U.S. and Japan, all right? Well, Mr. Donald Trump, I know we could disagree in some things and agree with something. The one thing I could agree is sending troops to Venezuela. I don't know when you're going to plan to send troops to Venezuela and have Enrique Capriles, who is having the same mentality what George Washington did back in 1776. You know, his mind is going against the Maduro regime, like Washington were fighting against the British invasion. You know, this is what it is. This guy, probably if they open his arms to be in the United States under your control, Mr. Trump, Mr. Donald Trump, if he could exile here in the United States, then send our troops to Venezuela, and then with our troops training the people who are the oppressors, you know, who is against the Maduro regime. Yeah, the people who are against the Maduro regime, you know, the opposers of the Maduro regime, right? Then these people who need guns, who need grenades, tanks, well, our troops will train them. Our troops will train them, and then I guess you're busy with other issues regarding, besides Venezuela, then U.S. troops would fight for Venezuela to fight against the Maduro regime. Yeah, the oppressors, against the Maduro regime, fighting against the Maduro regime. This war, a war that could help the opposition. The opposition. The opposition troops with Capriles. Capriles, if he gets exiled to the United States, with the U.S. Army, with the U.S. Marine Corps, with all the U.S. military fighting against the Maduro regime, the people, the exile people, the ones against the Maduro regime, they'll be fighting for freedom. They need to fight for freedom. They need to fight against the Maduro regime, and then the opposition league, if you give them guns, that our U.S. troops will train them, and then we fight together. Venezuela and the United States, the Venezuela opposition and the United States military fight together to tear down this Maduro regime. Tearing down the Maduro regime, always up for a fight, always having a gun, an AK-47 or whatever, or an Uzi. People with the opposition holding on Uzis or M16s or grenades and tanks and all that crap and all that shit, then we could win. We could win the war. We could destroy Maduro, and then that's the war that we need. But Mr. Trump, I hope you could listen through this, and I agree, if we need to go to war, send our troops to Venezuela. Send our troops to Venezuela. Send U.S. troops to Venezuela against the Maduro regime. That's the only solution that we're going to have right now. So, most likely, anybody, doesn't matter where you go, all over the world, please send troops to Venezuela. Please let them fight. This is I know, Mr. Trump, I know you were like thinking of other issues besides the Venezuela issue, but keep in mind about Venezuela. Keep in mind of Capriles, having trained the opposition, have soldiers, have their own, backed by the U.S. military if they have to. But if it's other problems, please keep in mind about sending American troops to Venezuela. Then what else? If my own country of birth fails, no matter what, where's the? I hope for Pence could think about Venezuela also. Mike Pence, you might be his replacement, and then you could do good. I think Mike, I think you, Mr. Pence, might do the job. Probably you have more heart. Probably you care what is the situation in Venezuela. Whatever it comes to send American troops to Venezuela. Send the U.S. Marines, send the U.S. Army. Send the American military to Venezuela to fight for Venezuela against the Maduro regime. Let the opposition fight with you guys. They need the guns. They need everything. They need the tanks. That's it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And then for whatever it is with Capriles, Capriles, Lo que estoy diciendo ese video es para pelear contra el régimen de Maduro. Contra el régimen de Maduro, depende, porque estoy hablando entre todos los líderes mundiales, una mano que le ayuda puede lograr la libertad en Venezuela. Now to Shinzo Abe. Shinzo Abe. Well, my cuz went to your country, and then the meaning about this, you have spending, screw Article 9, like, excuse my language, fuck Article 9. This what it means, that including, that could be include that Japan would get the help from Venezuela too, or Venezuela will need a helping hand from Japan. They need a helping hand from Japan. That I will tell you what, there's lots of people in Venezuela, Mr. Shinzo Abe. I don't know if you understand English. I bet I saw your videos and you speak English very well. Yes, you went to college in the United States, but this is one thing for sure. I think, like something in my parents' country, my family country, Colombia, the FARC kidnapping Japanese hostages. Japanese visitors in Colombia are being kidnapped by the FARC. But we ain't gonna go through that story, because you base in something about screwing Article 9 and go on only to help the people in Venezuela. The thing is, there are Japanese residents in Venezuela. By now, they're killing thousands of Japanese residents in Venezuela right now. And plus, Venezuelan of Japanese descent. Venezuelan people of Japanese descent are being killed by the thousands, not just by the thousands. Venezuelans of Japanese descent are getting killed by the millions. Not by the thousands, but by the millions. Alright? And so, for you, Shinzo Abe, if there's anything with the U.S. government, probably you could have Enrique Capriles exiled to Japan. If the U.S. might just taking too long to give a helping hand to Venezuela, then the effectiveness of Capriles being exiled to Japan also works also. Why? Because, building this military, the Japanese military, the Japanese Defense Forces, you have to spend a bunch of money, Mr. Shinzo Abe, millions and millions of dollars on your military, sending troops to Venezuela. Not just to protect the residents being killed by the Maduro government in Venezuela. They're killing thousands, they're killing millions of Japanese residents in Venezuela. They're also killing millions or thousands of Venezuelans of Japanese descent in Venezuela. Why? Because Maduro is just heartless. He killing everybody, discriminating, not just Venezuelans of Japanese descent, but all Venezuelans. Because that could also include Venezuelans of Japanese descent. And that also include Japanese residents being killed in Venezuela. People in Japan, they have their family members living in Venezuela. And they have people that are of Japanese descent, of Japanese heritage, being killed in Venezuela. Why? Because that's the Maduro regime. Indiscriminately, he's killing everybody. The only ones that could have the guns and stuff are the Venezuelan people under the Maduro regime. And under that, Shinzo Abe, you could say, look at what happened in Venezuela. Thousands of Japanese residents are being killed by the Maduro regime. Thousands of Venezuelans of Japanese descent are being killed in Venezuela. Yes, you could do that. And that's what it is. Any help from anybody all over the world. I don't mind if it's France, Canada, or Great Britain. You know, no matter the territorial disputes, even Colombia has territorial disputes, but no matter the most important thing besides the Takashima thing or the Senkaku Island thing is the Japanese residents and Venezuelans of Japanese heritage being killed in Venezuela. Sending the Japanese troops to Venezuela to fight for the opposition, to save not just the lives of Japanese Venezuelans, but for all Venezuelans. And also that could protect those Japanese residents living in Venezuela being killed by every single day by the millions or by the thousands, Mr. Shinzo Abe. So the thing is that whatever it is, any help from anybody could be the best for Venezuela. What is the best for Venezuela? The only reason is that Capriles, no matter where, but it seems like Japan might be the bigger helpful hand, that Capriles will be exiled in Tokyo. He will be exiled in Tokyo, that he is the opposition, and having these troops from the Japanese forces, you know, the opposition forces being backed by Japan would be a great help. It would be a great help for Venezuela to reach for freedom. It'd be a great help for all Venezuelans, not just Japanese Venezuelans, for all Venezuelans and for all Japanese residents living in Venezuela being killed by the thousands or being killed by the millions. Alright? You know, it's multiplying so fast, Mr. Shinzo Abe. Yeah, Abe. Mr. Abe. Mr. Abe, you know the Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe? The deaths of Japanese lives, even people of Japanese heritage that are born in Venezuela, are multiplying by the thousands or by the millions. That means that for that thing, you could go and help out thousands and millions of Japanese residents being killed in Venezuela, millions of Venezuelans of Japanese heritage, or not just thousands of Venezuelans of Japanese heritage being killed, and all Venezuelans, including non-Japanese ones, are being killed also, to include with the Japanese Venezuelans. That's it. That's the end of the video, and that's what we need help for Venezuela. The help for Venezuela doesn't matter where they're from. Could be from the US and could be from Japan. One of those countries might need help. I mean, probably Trudeau from Canada's watching this, but this is more like, no matter where it comes, if it doesn't matter if it's from Japan or from the US or from the UK, Venezuela needs troops to fight for the opposition, to fight against the Maduro regime. Thank you and goodbye, and have a nice day or have a nice week. See you in the next video. Bye.